Good evening, class. This is Dr. Boris. I would like to go over some of the application assignments for Module 7, and I'll touch base with about the Module 8 and the final exam that's coming next week, next module. First things first, Unit 7, Module 3 is specified in the classroom as everything else is specified. And the description is in the R703 business or counseling or education file that's in doc sharing. So I can look at it and I will go through what is it asking me for module 7. 4, 5, 6 mastered. Module 7 application assignments are related to nonparametric testing. 2 words about nonparametric testing. When we are in a situation that we don't have the normally distributed variables, which happens sometimes, or we have nominal distributed variables which never can be presented in any kind of normal form, we need to try to do and use the nonparametric testing, mostly in the form of chi-square. So, there are 3 questions that I'm going to present to you. They're relatively simple to technically use. What I need you to please also, for the interpretation purposes, go to Chapter 8 of SPSS for Windows and watch the live lecture in doc sharing related to nonparametric testing. I will go and give you some hints and some ideas where to start working on it. I'm not going to give you all the answers, but at least you will have a place to start. And then we'll jump on the week 8 of the final exam. I'll spend a few more minutes on that one. So if we look at the question 1, before the change of ownership, the company was encouraging its customers to reduce private labeling as a way to reduce cost of goods sold. Explore the distribution of customers by company sales. Does the distribution of customers, private label, brand label, or both differ from what one would expect by chance? And if they're telling us how to run, run a chi-square goodness of fit using company sales variable with all categories equal. All right, let's go and compare. This is the idea of non-parametric tests. It's comparing the frequencies. So if we have 3 labels, we have to have them basically equally distributed. Or we're going to compare to the real data that we collected from the sample and make decision on expected value and test of statistical significance. All right, so let's look at the SPSS data set. SPSS data set is here. Then we can go to, and this is the important part. We go for this, for the chi-square goodness of fit. We need to go to Analyze, and we go to Non-Parametric Tests, and we go to legacy dialogues, and chi-square. And it will give us the option that we have. The option is pretty simple, straightforward. All we need to find the variable that we need to include. I'm going to remove everything I have done before. So we need to find the test variable list, and it tells us company sales as the variable with all categories equal. All categories equal is already selected. We don't have to worry at this particular point. Then we have type of company sales is here, so we can just move it to test variable list. And we don't need to worry about anything else. We can just click OK. And this is one of the simplest possible assignments and quick and easy analysis. And just to get an idea, I'm not going to tell you every detail on what you need to write in APA style or anything. I want you to look at the live session, the live lecture for that, or chapter 8 in Windows SPSS for Windows. But what the basic idea I have, expected number of labels equally distributed is here, and observed number of values of the price of the sales that we have is here. So they're very similar just by eyeballing, so we may not expect any difference. However, if we compare chi-square and the distribution of the degree of freedoms of 2, because we have 3 measurements, and we have our famous p-value 0.726, and initially it's going to tell us that we are talking about pretty much retaining null hypothesis, basically telling us there is no statistically significant difference between observed and expected values. Expected values are based on the original distribution that we have, and observed values are something we measured from our sample. And that's going to be for the first one. Of course, the conclusion you have to write, but I cannot tell you much more about that. So what we need to do, we need to eliminate this and go to the second assignment. And the second assignment is going to be here in question 2. Run a chi-square goodness of fit using purchase type as the variable with all categories unequal for the expected value. This is a little bit more complicated. Run a chi-square goodness of fit using purchase type as the variable with 12, 26, and 12 as the expected values. Okay, so we're going to see report the observed and expected values in the test of statistical significance. Okay, let's go back to SPSS file. We go to Analyze. We go back to Non-Parametric Testing, Legacy Dialogues, chi-square, and we need to reset this. And what are the variables that we're including? We have to include the variable purchase type. We're going to go find the purchase type, type of purchasing, and then we don't need to use all categories equal, but we need to enter the values, which are entered by 12, we add, then 26, then 26, we add, then we do 12, and we add. And there are any other options? Observe the expected value and the test of statistical significance. I think we're in good shape. So we're gonna click OK here and interpret the results of chi-square test. Now just focus on expected, and then we entered, and observed values that are here, and we have some very marginal statistical significance, actually not statistical significance, because the p-value is greater than 0.05. But it's your interpretation you need to think about and do it. I'm going to focus on the assignment number 3 and get you there, because that one is a little bit more complicated. Now, question 3 is asking us, is there a relationship between the type of purchasing and the structure of procurement? Run chi-square independence test. It says crosstabs, giving us a hint, using type of purchasing in the rows and structure of procurement in the column. Use the chi-square and the 5 coefficient to evaluate the relationship with statistical significance. To mention here, if you didn't read in the PowerPoints or in the textbook, God forbid who read textbooks nowadays, the pi coefficient is equivalent to the calculating of coefficient of correlation in normally distributed variables. So pi coefficient will give us similar results as coefficient of correlation. That way we can kind of conclude is there a relationship between the type of purchasing and structure of procurement. Report observed and expected values and test of statistical significance. This is in chapter 8 in particular, specified with the crosstabs. I'm sorry, question 1 and 2 are not in chapter 8, but question 3 is in chapter 8, my mistake. Let's try to do the question 3. Okay, we're going to go to analyze, and it's a hint was telling us crosstabs. If we remember descriptive stats, there are crosstabs in descriptive stats. We click here, and then we need to make sure that we use chi-square. We click on statistics, and we use chi-square, and we don't forget to check off pi because that's going to give us some results, or actually correlation, kind of, sort of. And we need to do here, we need to put what goes in the rows. Per type of purchasing goes in rows, and it's going to be organized by the columns, and the columns is going to be structure of procurement. Structure of procurement is going to go into the columns. And I think we have done everything. We have statistics, we have chi-square, we select, we're going to go pi, and we can go, and when we learn more, we can go in more details about all these things for non-parametric and testing analysis. What we have here, we're just going to click OK, and we pray until things come out good. And as you can see, and I'm going to point you on two important things here. We have here structure of procurement is decentralized and centralized. We have private label, brand label, both labels. And what is that we are looking here? Is there a relationship with the type of purchasing and structure of procurement? Type of purchasing, private label, brand label, and both, and structure of procurement is decentralized, centralized. Now, if, as I told you, pi is going to give us some sort of like coefficient of correlation, and this is 0.373. So that means there is some positive correlation between the type of purchasing and the structure of procurement, and it happened to be statistically significant. So for more of the interpretation, go check on chapter 8 in SPSS for Windows book, textbook, or go to the live lecture that's in the doc sharing, the only one that's related to the non-parametric testing. I'm going to say a few words about module 8 now, even though it's not still a little early, but it's going to come sooner than you expected. If we go to module 8, we go down, there's only one thing, one assignment. Module 8 assignment 1. Okay. And it's all in here in the classroom. You don't have to go and do any other description. However, the data that we need to use to answer these questions in here is found in doc sharing under the final exam, and you have the final R7031A final, which is accessible to all the students. So if we open, we'll have another data set. I'm going to open it so we can see how it is. It's matching something, the description that's given in the assignment for the final module. And in terms of data, it's pretty simple. It's pretty similar to what we have done here. And the data are here, so we're going to use this particular data to answer the questions that we decide to answer from the Module 8 assignment. Here, let's look at the Module 8 assignment. Module 8 assignment is here. We're going to click here, and we look at the Module 8 assignment. The purpose of this exam is to give you the opportunity to formulate research questions, run the analysis, interpret results of statistical cover in this class. This is like a mini dissertation on assignment. The final exam is due by midnight on the due date, April 15th, as a single Microsoft Word document placed in a Dropbox. Documents must be in APA format. Please read through the entire exam first. In terms of due date, I cannot really postpone it because I need to submit the grades next day. So this is the only time I'm not flexible. I cannot be flexible for allowing you to be late. If you're late, if you submit it during the morning of next day up to the 12 noon, I may be able to accept it because I'm still grading. So if it's a few hours late, it shouldn't be a problem, but don't make it late on next day, on Wednesday, April 16th. So what we need to do, the exam consists of 3 sections. The research scenario, provide a context for the data. Please note that data are content neutral. They don't refer to specific discipline or field. That means you're going to come up with the scenario, how and what are you going to be doing with this data. The code book identifies the variables, names, labels, and measurement scale in the database. The exam instructions for completing the exam. Be sure to read each question carefully and answer each question completely. Not all of them, but I'll tell you in a few seconds what do we need to do. An organization wants to know if participants with varying levels of experience, professionals, paraprofessionals, non-professionals, improve their knowledge after completing a training program. That's the scenario. Almost done for you. Organization, you can come up and place this in your environment, in a hypothetical, real, existing company situation, however you want. Retaining the organization collected demographic information, gender, age, type of training, location of the work site, and years of experience. Retaining test of knowledge, a training program and post-training test of knowledge was developed. Participants were tested, then participated in the 3-week training program, then were tested again. The data set also includes 1, measure of participant confidence in knowledge, and 2, a certification exam score. So those are the dependent variables. Data are discipline neutral. Therefore, part of your final project to create a context for the research that's associated with your discipline or area of interest, training to assess mental health status, training to work with special education children, training to become a technician or consultant. The code book is something that's matching our data set. You saw the data set. You saw the data set. Here's the data set. If we go in variable view, it's going to match the code that we have in the assignment in the course room. Now, describe your sample. Describe relationships among the variables. Now, part 4 is asking you to answer 4 of the 9 following research questions. Please be advised, we need to answer 3 questions only. 3 questions only. I will send an email on before the final so you don't have to answer the 4 questions. And here are the questions that you may want to choose from. So, based on the research area, restate the research question. Identify independent and dependent variables. Formulate the hypothesis. Conduct an analysis. Interpret results for each of the following. Please use 7-step hypothesis testing module for each analysis, including an APA style conclusion statement summarizing the findings, interpreting results, and answering the research question. Is there a significant difference in knowledge between on-site and off-site workers before they take the training? So you're going to say that before taking training, there will be the variable that measure their knowledge before the training. They're going to compare two groups. Is there a significant increase in knowledge as a result of the training? That's somewhat similar. You have to have the pre and post test. We have done in module 4. We had the similar analysis. Do participants of different classification, professional, paraprofessional, non-professional, perform differently on the certification exam? Which group performs best? This smells as a NOVA. What are the effects of gender and worksite location on or offsite on level of confidence? In other words, is there a gender difference in confidence? Does type of worksite experience affect confidence? Is there any interpretation between gender and worksite, their effect on confidence? You can use t-test or ANOVA. After controlling for the prior knowledge, is there a difference between professional, paraprofessional, and non-professional knowledge after the training? So covariance is going to be prior knowledge, and then you can see the knowledge, the level of knowledge after the training for 3 different groups. Does age predict performance or certification exam? Looks like you're going to do the coefficient of correlation. In addition to age, does confidence improve the ability to predict performance on the certification exam? Same thing. Does the distribution of classification of participants, professional, paraprofessional, professional, differ than what one would expect by chance? It can be, it is non-parametric because we have 3 descriptive variables that we can use. The three groups actually. Descriptive groups, nominal groups. Does the distribution of classification differ from the state data reported 15, 25, and 60%? And you can use that as first assignment. We had a t-test to answer that one. But keep in mind, answer 3 questions out of 9. Follow the grading criteria, and some of them are higher. So, be careful about writing your 7 steps analysis and do the APA properly, summarize findings, describe and sample characteristics and differences in knowledge, interpret results in terms of program effectiveness. So, follow the rubric so you don't miss any of the data, and I think you can do pretty good at the final. Alright, that's it for tonight. If you need me, send me an email or call me. Good night from Dr. Boris.